The House Republicans just passed the only bill in Washington that lifts the debt limit, ends wasteful Washington spending, and puts America back on the right economic path. The sad part here is now the Democrats need to do their job. The president can no longer ignore by not negotiating.
Well, that was House Speaker Kevin McCarthy this week speaking on Capitol Hill after the House passed the Limit, Save, Grow Act of 2023 on Tuesday. Meanwhile, President Biden says he will meet with McCarthy, but he refuses to talk about the debt ceiling, claiming it's, quote, not negotiable. So do we have any hope of stabilizing the economy when it comes to our government? And when it's so divided, I guess. I want to welcome in the host of Wise Guys and the king of Staten Island, John Tabacco, to discuss. John, appreciate you joining us. John, even if this bill manages to pass the Senate, Biden is already threatening that he'll veto it if it comes to his desk. Is that the right move here?
Mike, this is kabuki theater, if you ask me. And if you go back in history, the Democrats and Republicans always love to spar it out. We're not going to raise the debt ceiling. These guys are going to close down the government. How can they put all these people out of work? And the one thing, the one place where our swampy legislators in Washington are always united is this. They always figure out a way how to spend more money. So Biden can posture and say, I'll meet, but I'm not going to talk about debt. And then McCarthy can say, we're not going to do anything unless you get rid of the IRS agents. But I say to everyone in America, when they talk about, shutting down government and everything else, namaste, folks. Stay calm. I'll guarantee you one thing. The Uni-Party in Washington always figures out a way how to spend more of our money.
Yeah, John, opponents of this bill claim it would pose a danger to American manufacturing, law enforcement, and families, all in the name of making it easier for the rich to cheat on their taxes. Do you believe that's true?
No, I don't think that's true. First of all, if you think about 87,000 IRS agents, you could actually fill the Rose Bowl with those people. So do you really need a whole stadium full of agents to go out there and track down, 5,000 millionaires and billionaires or 10,000? No. If you look at the numbers, Mike, I don't have them in front of me right now, but I did it way back when they were talking about it. What they really want, and they said that this is going to bring in X trillion dollars over the next 10 years. What they're really looking for is every one of these agents to bring in about $5,000 a year in uncollected taxes through audits. And that's the way they guaranteed that it would pay for itself. So they're not going after millionaires and billionaires for $5,000 an agent. They're going after small businesses. They're going after mom and pops. The same people that were locked down for a year and a half, the same people that had to turn people away if they didn't have masks on, the same people whose borrowing at their bank is now up at exorbitant levels. They're coming after you again, and that's what these IRS agents are for. Not the big boys, the little guys.
Yeah, John, Biden says the economy is really bouncing back after the pandemic, but we are seeing some ominous signs on the future. I could see you laughing there. Silicon Valley Bank, of course, the failure this week, the Federal Reserve issuing a scathing assessment of its failure to identify problems and push for improvements before the U.S. lenders collapse and promised tougher supervisions and stricter rules. What does Silicon Valley Bank's collapse, what does this mean for the federal banking system?
Well, what it means, and I've been saying this for a while, Mike, the whole banking system's on fire right now, okay? Whatever they're telling us, oddly enough, the Treasury has, I believe the FDIC has $225 billion to save insured accounts at banks. Total U.S. deposits in banks, $22 trillion. So they're short about 99% of the money to make all the Americans whole. But more importantly, Silicon Valley Bank was bailed out because it's all Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden's friends out there in Silicon Valley, in San Francisco, and those type of places. But I've been saying for a while, the Silicon Valley Bank spent 8 months without a chief risk officer. So you don't have to do a big, deep dive. You got this multi-billion-dollar bank running, and the office that says chief risk officer is empty. So let's just try, I know Barney Frank is on this network a lot, and he's always talking about all this stuff. Barney Frank wrote the bill, the Dodd-Frank bill that was supposed to prevent stuff like this happening. And he's on the board of the other bank, Signature Bank. So let's get some simple things going, like Can we have a chief risk officer for sure? Can we get like a monthly check-in? And can we tell the Fed, don't raise rates so high and then crush all the banks with these old bonds they got on their books? So we're kind of in like a cobra clutch right now, Mike. The Fed's been saying they got to raise rates to fight inflation. But now we know all these banks have this toxic paper on their books. And as rates go up, it puts them in more danger. So the Fed's only tool is not there. They can't raise rates anymore. And the banks, as they just trickle along, we saw First Republic Bank on Friday. They're going into receivership now. I was on John Bachman on March 13th, and I said, run for the hills from First Republic Bank. But everybody believes the clowns and buffoons channel over at CNBC that everything is fine, and it's really not. I'd be careful, and certainly don't keep more than $250,000 in any account because you're only insured up to that number.
There you go. John, real quick, what's coming up on Wise Guys tonight at 10 o'clock?
Well, tonight, Mike, we're talking about hate. We're talking about how hate is up. Anti-Semitism is up, anti-Asian hate, and believe it or not, the stats are starting to show that anti-white hate crimes are up. And we just, we hit the streets and talk to some regular folks about, hey, does the parties in Washington want us to love each other like we're supposed to, or do they want to divide us and foment this hate? And we got some really interesting stuff, and Gerard Felitti from the Lawfare Project joins us as well. Great show. Thank you, Mike.
All right, you got it, John. John Tabacco, host of Wise Guys, tonight at 10, right here on Newsmax. Thanks, John. All right.